My name is Mathew Reer. I'm one of the lost boys from Sudan, particularly from Dok village of Sudan. I was separated from my beloved parents in 1987 when the government troop attacked our village in Southern Sudan. I'm sure most of you know about the civil war in Sudan between the Arab in the north and the Christian in the south. The war happened the civil war happened back in 1983 when the rebels split out from the main government due to inequality of sharing the resources. So when our village was attacked, we walked thousands of miles, myself and other boys. We walked through the desert to Ethiopia. It was a painful journey. A lot of us died on the way due to starvation, and most are being attacked by wild animals, and many people died from thirst. Many of us were young as 6 and 7. So it was a very high situation, and the reality was when our village was attacked, the enemy killed many people, including children, women, everybody. We escaped. I don't know how I get out of that, but I would say I was so lucky. So when the elder people from the government gathered most of us and we walked through the desert, we had no choice but to escape our life, and we walked crossing the river, walking through the desert. Many people, there were about 16,000 young boys. There were few girls and few women, but majority were young boys. And we went to Ethiopia, a journey that took us almost 4 months on the way, and it was very hard. But what kept us moving, when you see other children like you walking, that sometimes give you a strength that you see your friends are walking, going through the same situation that you are in. And when we got to Ethiopia, we lived there in a refugee camp. The UN was helping with food, and after that the UN built some few schools for us. We went to school, and we lived there about 3 years. But then in 1991 the civil war broke out in Ethiopia between the rebel and the government, and we were forced out at gunpoint. We had to come back to Sudan, where the enemy chased us. And the main thing is with the government, the government is always targeting where we are. When we came to Sudan, we live in a camp called Pachala. There were a lot of refugees there, and the government attacked the camp, and we have to walk also through the desert escaping, and a journey also that took months and months and months. A lot of people also died on the way. It took us a long time. In 1992, we made it to Kenya. The Kenya government made it possible for us to welcome us in Kenya. So we live in a refugee camp called Kakuma in northern Kenya. That the refugee life in Kenya was a little bit difficult also. It was not easy. We were living in a primitive environment, ice situation, lack of food also was the main issue, and also lack of clean water as well, and also the local people who are living in the area also were also targeting the people in the camp. They were attacking people, so we didn't feel safe at all in most cases. So our life was still in danger, even though we seemed like we escaped the main problem, what forced us out from Sudan. The only good thing in Kenya when it comes to education was what kept us in Kenya, and the food that we were getting was very mere to keep us stand, and so education was somehow good. And for us, when we left Sudan, we have learned that most of our suffering, if we trace it back, it was because Southern Sudan did not have educated people, and many people in the south didn't want to participate in the government, and when the government took the south over, they dominated the whole government, and the only children who were educating were from the north. If you are not Muslim, then forget it, and you have to be Muslim to get government services. So lack of education was the main issue where the Southern found themselves, because they were so ignorant to the education. If they took education seriously, what happened could have not happened. So we always put education as our main objective. And when we came to Kenya, even when we were in Ethiopia, the main thing we were asking the United Nations was to build a school to provide us education. And the same thing when we came to Kenya, our main goal was to get education. And by having education, will secure our life, because most of our parents were not educated, and when we are educated, we can change our country, we can change the Southern Sudan. So we live in a refugee camp from 1992 until now. Refugees are still living in the camp. But in 1998, the UNHCR, the United Nations, and the U.S. government came to an agreement that enough is enough. We have suffered enough as a boys. We lost our childhood, and we were kind of a group that lost in time. And the U.S. government gave us opportunity to come to the United States. It was a very slow process when it first started. Most of us do not believe that it was going to happen, but there was a process. The process takes a long time. You have to go through the interview and medical check and all those, and you have to mention also why you want to go to the United States and what happened. You have to tell your history. So they begin the process in 1998, but then by the year 2000, they start bringing those who passed the interview to the U.S. The opportunity was given to all the lost boys or young men, young boys who were living in the camp. But the process came. It was not like, all of us can come at the same time. So then when you pass the interview, you wait until your name appears that you will go to the U.S.